language, Donna.
Yeah, don't say anything bad about anybody. So, okay. All right. I think we have quite a few people here, so.
Can anyone hear us yet?
Oh, I
Yep.
can see you, Twyla.
Yep.
Yes, we can.
We're on Twyla.
I
Yeah,
can see you, Twyla.
Okay.
We're good.
It didn't seem like we were on. All right.
Where's the cookies?
Oh,
Cookies, but I baked the lemon crumb cake again.
Oh.
Bummer.
Oh.
Oh, that sounds
We'll
good.
give you after the meeting.
Can we come out?
That's the one thing that Zoom doesn't do, is doesn't give you the smell or the taste of that nice stuff.
Yeah.
oh, darn.
Don't a bunch of websites have leave cookies?
Well, we had quite a few pictures that went through and showed some uses of the word spread this month. So I'm going to just go ahead and start the review of the pictures and share my screen here. Today, I'm just going to show the actual album in Facebook, by sharing my screen on my PC. And that saves me a lot of work having to download them and put them in some other software. So that's one good thing about doing this. So let's see if I find it here.
In case you're wondering, it's snowing here.
Yes, we have snow.
Is it?
Wow.
My goodness.
Oh, there they are.
So you should be able to see my screen now.
Nice.
So here's the first one. This is by Doug Smith.
Doug.
He's found a place somewhere where he's seeing eagles all the time. And he's been
They're
getting a lot of
beautiful.
good shots over the month. So this one is definitely.
Yeah,
somebody- There's an eagle nest at PP&L Lake in Washingtonville on the far side.
Wow.
As you're looking from the overlook.
Yeah, something like that. More towards the back end, across from where the buoys are. That's what I was told. I
Oh, really?
haven't been there yet, but
Well, now, somebody said up by the bog there above between Bloom and Berwick.
Across from Renco.
That, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's usually eagles there. Mhm.
that's in the wintertime I've seen it there. I drove, I haven't seen any nests or nothing. No.
I haven't seen them this year on Route 11. So.
Mhm.
These shots are hard to get if you ever try to actually take a bird in flight, especially with a longer lens. It's difficult
Yeah.
to get them framed properly. I'm not sure how much he had to crop to get this like this, but it's
They
really
must
a
have a
pretty
lot
good
of
shot.
patience.
Great picture.
Really good picture.
Last year, around December, Sue and I went to Conowingo, and we got a couple of shots like that. That's a really nice place to go to take shots like this.
Mm-hmm. Let's try the next one.
Kathy and Bob were on. Kathy might be here to watch a little while. Oh, that one's mine.
Nice.
They're pretty. What kind of flowers are they?
I'm not sure. I found them in a rock garden when I went for a walk, and they were spreading all through the rock garden.
They're so
I
pretty.
thought they were pretty, and they're very tiny.
Yes. They're nice.
Very nice.
They're pretty. I don't know what
They are.
I can almost smell
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I like the color.
Yeah.
I like that you could get the dew or the water on them too, which is kind of
Yes,
nice.
that's nice.
You can run around with a spray bottle and do it yourself if there's none there. So,
I did that with spider webs one year.
yeah.
Yep.
Couldn't see them well enough, but I sprayed it with water, and then there were drops all over the web.
Very nice. This one.
Well, that one's mine too, and that is an old post that is holding, it was holding a mailbox, and someone moved out of the house, and mailbox is still there, and all of this started growing on top of the post.
Somebody said it looked like the Coliseum inside, and it does.
Yeah, that
actually, you know,
that
really
does.
good.
That's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of like out west, like the Grand Canyon or Utah, somewhere, the canyons there.
Yeah, I thought it was some sort of landscape too. I wasn't sure exactly what it was.
Reminds me of an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I like it. The symmetry and everything is nice.
And the focus is interesting because it's blurry down the front here, and then it's focused back here, but it doesn't look bad like that. It's really neat. It draws your interest into the photo. I think it's good. This is one from Avis,
Okay.
and she has her cover from her pool spread across the backyard. Apparently,
Mhm.
I thought Avis would be here tonight. She missed it tonight.
Okay, Earl, it's starting to snow here too.
Okay.
Well,
No
now
snow
the
in
sun,
Bloomsburg yet.
now the sun's shining here.
Yeah, it's snowing and the sun. I wonder if they can get a rainbow.
Yeah, that'd be unusual.
This is another one from Avis from her backyard, I guess. The spread of these leaves, I guess.
Is that cloud type of thing, maybe from a power plant?
I think that's the power plant. Yeah.
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 Huh.
And Ava's showing the moss on the top of the roof spreading across the roof.
Mhm.
I think that
Like
might
those
be interesting to use
turf
in
turf
a-
houses they used to have.
Yeah, this is a night shot from Avis.
Yeah.
Those big moons are really a challenge when you go out and try to take a good shot of those. I mean, it's tough to get everything in one shot because of the brightness of the moon, and then, you know, to try to get a foreground is tough. Something's going to get blown out. You almost have to do two shots, one with the foreground and one with the moon to get them right. But
Oh,
that's a big one.
that's pretty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Love that one.
That's right there on the Susquehanna.
It looks like a railroad track next to it on the bank, maybe, or just a road.
I think it might just be a road,
Okay.
or maybe it is a railroad track. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Very pretty. That is gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Did you add that color in there? The pinkish color, or was it like that?
You know, it was kind of pinkish already, yeah, and but there was probably some. I think I did do some enhancing in Photoshop and use the clarity to kind of soften up the treetops.
Okay.
What time of day would that be about?
I think it was the middle of the day, but it was an overcast day.
Okay. It's
Very
pretty.
nice.
I like
I
I think
like
it's
the
very soft mood.
reflections are nice
Reflections are
too.
nice.
Really
Yeah.
coming down.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Another one.
And a cup of tea with the steam spreading.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Very soothing.
That is nice.
There were a lot of comments about how hard it is to capture steam like that. You know,
Right.
Right,
It's
right.
really difficult. It's a good job.
How hard it is to do what? Catch the steam?
Catch the steam like that, yeah.
Yeah, I just put that up on the windowsill right up above where my sink is in the kitchen, where I wash dishes. There's like a ledge there, and the sun was coming right in, and it caught the steam well.
Very nice.
Really nice.
I read somewhere
I
that
like
you
it
can,
in black and white.
yeah, I read where you can fake it using a hot potato right out of the oven. You squish it and then the steam comes up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like the lines of the tea bag string too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can really see the detail in it.
Would the potato make that an Irish tea then?
They gotta-
Especially if you spike it.
Oh, my. Very nice. And this is one of Avis's spreads. Definitely a yummy spread, she said.
It's simple, but I like it. It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nice shadows in here and a nice detail. Looks like there's a crack here and there.
Oh, it's pretty.
that's pretty.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
Avis.
Very pretty.
Avis again. Oh, good. And this is one of our newer members, Maggie May.
It's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
I like that.
It's really impressive to
Mm.
put the
Everything's so clear.
there.
I don't know what those things are doing with the wind today. I don't know where
Yeah.
the might have to start over again. But that is impressive. Really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be in Jersey by now.
Yeah, yeah. The detail on these petals are really and on here really good.
Nice detail.
Another one from Maggie May.
Beautiful.
She chose black and white, and I think it's probably a good choice because of the contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's so airy.
Mhm.
Very pretty.
That's nice.
Where did you take that? That's something different.
Oh, that's in Danville.
Is
That's
it?
the spreading moss, and I thought the spreading pattern too.
Yeah.
Oh,
A
yeah.
little park near the river.
That's pretty.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's really nice.
Mhm.
I like the way you put the circle in
Pattern.
the rule of thirds right there in that
Right,
PowerPoint.
right.
Yeah.
Good job.
That was a board game, and it happens to be called Pandemic. Playing one night, and I had a picture of it. That was my photo of the day. So
I really like this one, Michelle. I really like the way the background is blurred and the colored pieces are right in front there, and really that's just a beautiful shot.
Mhm.
Nice
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
Very good.
thanks.
That's gorgeous.
Very pretty.
Nice.
Mhm.
Let's see. Magnolia, maybe?
No,
Rhod-
it's actually rhododendron.
Oh, rhododendron. Oh, yes, of course.
I like the blurred background. Really,
Yeah.
you can see there's more of them back there, but you
Stand
can't
out.
see them.
I actually took that picture of the rhododendron, and I made a second version of it and completely put a big Gaussian blur over it and overlaid it and just erased the area where the flower was. That's how I got that
Wow.
background color to it.
That's a lot of work there.
Kind of like an overlay of the same colors in it.
Yeah, pretty
Beautiful.
good.
That's a very nice effect.
Yeah, I like it.
Hmm.
Very good.
Always wizard with those. Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Emily's. Emily, you out there?
I am.
Hi, Emily.
Did you
This is all new to me.
Uh-huh.
Did you actually capture that with the birds, both those birds on either side like that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I bet you did.
That is wonderful.
That is so cute.
Thank
I thought
you.
it was trick photography for a moment.
Yeah.
No, it's just, they happen to be there and I happen to be at the right place at the right time.
That's
Thank
interesting. I like it.
Looks like they could be talking to each other or peeking at each other.
But they are spread out.
Little
Yes.
trees.
They're changing colors now. The males are turning bright yellow. Not quite there yet, but they're getting there.
They are.
Now, here's a question for you, Emily. Some of the birds, these finches, I've been taking some pictures as well, and they have an infection of their eyes. If you
I
get up,
noticed that.
yeah, their eyes are all messed up, like puffy, and they can't see.
Yes.
Oh,
Somebody had told us that the finches were getting West Nile virus
Oh, I wonder.
Yeah.
in the northern part. Yes. And so I hadn't seen any finches for a while. And then Brenda had me come down to her house. I was afraid there weren't any finches around, and
Oh, they're
she has a lot.
but
Yeah, we-
some have their eyes messed up.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
I belong to that Cornell bird group. I should send them a question, see if they know.
Yes,
That's what it is.
that would be interesting to find out.
This was a good shot, though. Nice capture.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, Brenda.
Yes, that's mine. It was a tree spreading across the, it had fallen and it was spreading across the lake.
I like it.
That is beautiful.
Yes.
That's nice. Yeah.
How far out did you walk?
I didn't. I was right on the edge.
Yeah.
Well, that would have made a picture.
What lake is that?
Probably of me falling in.
what lake is that, Brenda? What lake?
Actually, that's up in Eaglesmere.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I think you should have shimmied across that tree. A different shot there, Brenda.
You know, that tree is kind of propped up on something and it's higher than you think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
That's really beautiful.
reflection's nice because of the calm water. You know, there's no waves or anything. It's really nice.
Right.
Right.
It's hard to get it like that unless it's early in the morning or later in the afternoon, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of cold that day too.
It's beautiful.
Hi guys, sorry I'm late.
Davis.
All right.
Totally
Hi,
forgot.
Avis.
I just saw it on Facebook. I was like, oh my God.
Saw you, your
Yeah.
pictures.
No problem.
Now, that was a picture of my neighbor's daffodils. They just have loads of daffodils.
Wow.
It's a nice spread.
It's very pretty.
That's pretty.
Beautiful.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I like the angle.
Mhm.
That was an accident.
Oh.
Don't say you fell and tripped and you can just
Yeah.
on your knees and you took the picture, right?
No, I was trying to keep certain things out of the picture, so it ended up being the angle I took.
No, that's good.
Nice.
Oh, that one's mine. We have forsythia around here, and I just love forsythia.
Mm-hmm.
It was spreading all over the bank when I went back toward the river. So the color was spreading.
Wow.
I think that's the best way to take forsythia. A couple years ago, I was trying to do it, and every shot I got was just kind of boring. But zooming in like that makes it better.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice.
No, that's very pretty. Ah, this
Yeah,
is
this-
cool.
Oh, wow.
I
this
love
one- Yeah, this one's mine.
Okay, tell us about it, because I love it too.
Yeah, that,
How did you do that?
How did you create it?
I know you were doing spirograph, weren't you?
Yeah. It's a technique in Photoshop to be able to take one corner of a picture and duplicate it into the 4 different areas, and then there's a special filter that allows you to make this kaleidoscope effect. So if you look closely here, these are actually, you know, mushrooms here on a log, you know, that go on the side over here. So the whole thing was basically the corner of a mushroom shot that I kind of duplicated 4 times and then reflected in on itself like that in Photoshop. So
And you changed the color a little bit, I'll bet.
not really.
No?
That was the
Okay.
color. It was actually blue like that with those,
No kidding. Wow.
those natural colors. Yeah. I should have kept
It's
the
so-
other picture, the original. Maybe I'll post that sometime, show the original.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it'd be nice to see the before and after.
Mhm.
Well, I remember when we did painting with light and smoke that Michelle had done some stuff like that looked really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy?
This is another one of mine. Trying different techniques while we're stuck in the house. So this
I like that.
this is a
That's
technique
beautiful.
I read about in a book that said you could take a coffee table book and lay it open and fold the pages back on the inside, and then put a light behind it, and then the light shines through the book and basically gives you different effects. So if you would have put this horizontal, that would, and look at one of the sides, that would be the book. But I duplicated it in Photoshop and made it vertical so that you got two of them and made it in black and white. So if you look at these close, you can see that these are actually pages with like pictures on them here, writing on them.
Yeah, how about that? That's beautiful. I love
I
that.
love
That's really nice.
What are the
That's
faces at the
really-
top?
I don't know. I can't remember what this book was of, but it's a really big book with glossy pages, which is interesting.
I think it looks like metal.
Yeah.
That's the way it
I was
reflects.
thinking ribbon candy.
Oh,
Yeah, that's another thing, yeah.
Buddy?
I was surprised it came out like it did. I didn't have any hope that it was going to look like this. So it was good.
That's
It was
I
worth the
love
effort.
it.
Came out great.
Yeah, it looks nice, really nice.
This is some graffiti I found in the old incinerator down along the river in Berwick. So you could, almost every wall was covered with different graffiti and so forth. So I tried to get the one that kind of showed how it's spread out all along the wall with the open window on the top. So
That's really great perspective. It's really pretty.
Yeah.
I had to take some of the bad language off of it a little bit so you can't tell. But I don't think I wrecked it too much, and it can still keeps its flavor. So,
I can picture somebody going into a hardware store and saying, I need a bunch of paint cans for some graffiti. What do you suggest?
got every color you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's down by the test track along the road of going into the test track if you're ever around that area, and you can kind of walk around the back and you can walk right in. And it's a big open area with a pull-up door that you can walk in. So it's interesting.
Is that the old incinerator?
Yeah, the old incinerator. This is the last one I did this month. It's just the typical water droplet pictures where you put water on a piece of glass and then put different colored materials on underneath it and then show all the reflections off the water droplets. So it is like an old banker's lamp there, a green lamp, and some red scarves, a couple of rolls of tape, and just kind of just shows different, kind of looks like a little bugs. It's kind of interesting.
Very nice.
That is nice.
A bunch of spaceships
Yeah.
yeah.
coming to attack the Death Star.
Exotic ladybugs.
Exotic.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's my version of the coronavirus. Doug, you got to talk about this one.
Wow.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, that's spinning steel wool, but I shot it through a lens ball, crystal ball.
Oh yeah, okay.
The circle with the whole picture is through a crystal ball,
Wow.
and then the others is just from the wide angle.
Very nice.
That's really neat.
Yeah, that is neat.
How did you hold the ball without showing whatever you were holding it with?
It's actually flipped upside down, so if you look at the top, there's like a little square. That's a little crystal holder.
Okay.
And I had that sitting on top of one tripod, and my camera set up on another tripod. I set it up before it got dark and got it all focused in and all, and then used a remote to click the, start the picture, 30-second exposure.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh,
Very
you
nice.
put a lot of work into that.
Really?
It-
Looks like
Yeah.
you burned your whole backyard. Look at the grass is all burnt now.
I had the water hose handy, but
Forest
didn't catch
fire.
anything on fire.
That's impressive. Yeah,
That's neat.
good work.
I like the colors too.
Did you have
Right.
a feeling it was going to look like that? Or did you get what you were expecting?
I was basically playing. I didn't really know what I'd get with the lens ball, but
Mm-hmm.
I'd spun steel wool before, and it gets quite interesting, I think. But
You saw some of the other crystal ball pictures you took there too this month. They were pretty nice too.
yeah, it's something different, something fun to play around with.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Creative.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
A lot of work. Oh,
My
Lila.
sister was making masks. So what did I put there? I said preventing the spread and also spread of prevention.
yes.
Really nice. That's really pretty.
That's really nice, yeah. I made 2 today. 2 took me forever. I'm like looking at all.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, they're time consuming.
They're definitely useful though. I saw a lot of people using them today at the supermarket. So.
Yeah.
Betty Gray was asking a lot of seamstresses to make them.
Yeah, my wife is making some for Betty.
She's doing, yes.
I dug up my old elastic. It's when I used to go to Singer Sewing School when I was 12. Oh, does that tell you the state of the elastic? Probably go like this. Point.
Well,
You can't find elastic. Bye.
A little
No.
side story. My sister has a dealer she works with from New York City. They provide supplies to Joanne Fabrics and all those places. So she called to get more elastic. She had plenty, but she was going to try to help the other seamstresses who couldn't get the elastic. They said, before you go any further, tell us what you want. She said elastic. They didn't have 1 inch of elastic before May, they said.
That's
Mask, and they were all sold out.
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, that's a good sign. There were that many people making them, you know.
She must be over 400 by now.
Yeah, she's made over.
Wow.
And then,
Wow.
now I'm looking at the spread of his tail, which I like.
I like that, Twyla.
Thank
like
you.
that too.
That is
Yeah.
neat.
You think he'd be good for breakfast?
That's pretty cool.
And that's just a simple one that I did. I thought I liked how the vine was growing on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Very pretty.
Nice.
Yeah, you see it spreading. That's cool.
Signs of spring.
Yep. It's definitely nice and
It's
focused.
lovely color on that. That's lovely color.
No, thanks.
Very nice color.
I like this line, this dark line down here too. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Mhm.
You can see
I like the
composition.
texture in that background.
Mhm.
I get fascinated with bark when I start looking at it. I had some pine cones against bark and that, but I thought these were better.
Very nice.
That's
Wow.
why, that's why my
gorgeous.
road has its name.
Wow.
The
Wow.
pinks in the cemetery at the top of the hill.
Very nice.
What's that here in Bloom?
Pardon?
Is this here in Bloom?
No,
But,
this is the road I live on is called Mountain Pink Road.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is why they named the road Mountain Pink.
Wow.
But nobody knows that except in the spring.
Yeah. That's nice.
Very nice.
Gorgeous.
Is that like pushing daisies, only pink?
They're tinier.
this is
Ooh.
Maggie May. Very nice.
Oh,
Wow.
It's beautiful.
That's
Yeah.
a nice touch with the horse under it, horses.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
really pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. What kind of tree is that?
That's Emily's. Emily, you're on mute.
Very.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty.
I don't know if I can unmute her now. She might have left for a minute. You know, nope, back to the beginning. Let's see. I think we talked about yours. Is Avis? You just want to mention a couple of yours here?
Oh, yeah, that's just my backyard, and it was like the way the lining was spread out across the pool, and I can't wait till it's off. And I'm in it swimming.
Okay. It'll be a little longer.
Yeah. Hopefully not too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one more here. You. Back.
Were we supposed to put them in a special album, Bob? Because I have a couple in there and I didn't.
Yeah.
I looked for the ones that had anything that said the word spread in it and put them in the album. So.
Yeah, there was 3 of them that said spread. One was spread wings of a goose. The other one spread. Anyway, okay.
I can find them because we're in.
I was going to say, Bob, maybe you could show everybody one more time, or maybe you can't, about how to get into that. The photos and then albums, right?
Yeah.
That's what I do. I go to photos.
When you go to the actual club site, it looks like this when you come in. On the side here, we have photos. You go to
right.
photos.
And then albums.
And then albums is up here. You go to albums.
And that's where they give the theme, right?
Right. And here's the theme. And if you click on the theme, then you can add items to the theme up the top. There's an add items. That's how we get the items in.
Yeah, I just put them on the regular website or whatever.
I have to see if we can see them here somewhere. You said they were goose. These here?
Now, when I go in, it's just at the very top of mine. Like when I go into our site at the very top, it just says, has like events and things like that. And if you scroll over a little bit, it says albums. And then when you go into albums, it tells you what album is what.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, that's a good one. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
His feet.
Aflac.
That's like a perfect shot.
He looks too heavy to be able to fly.
Looks really tasty.
It looks tasty, huh? Let's see if they were together here. Let's see.
Yeah, it should be 3 of them. Nope.
No,
There were.
Davis's.
The other one is a macro. Yeah, that one. That was macro on with those squirt bottle, like you said.
Just squirt bottle.
Moss.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty. A little bokeh too.
Yeah, that was the other one. Twyla was helping me with this one with the color. She edited a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forget. Oh, okay.
See if that was the last one. Yeah, that's Barb's. It's interesting.
I thought that reflection on the foreground was really nice.
Yeah, I loved that one. I thought that was so pretty.
It is very pretty.
Nice.
Thank you.
I mean, it would be nice without that, but that adds something to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just the way it looked. I didn't set it up at all. It was just
There.
on a coffee table, and I had never seen it like that. I've never seen a reflection like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a perfect catch. The sun must have been coming in perfectly to just shoot right through there like that. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. It's
Well-
fun when it does that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any others that I missed out of the catalog that anybody can remember? No? This picture is good because it leads right into our next month's topic, which is still lifes.
Still life.
I saw a lot of people. I think Karen, you started some still lifes on this month with a challenge for garlic, and I saw some onion and all kinds of things. So I thought it was a good time to start looking again at still lifes this month. So let's see. I'm going to stop the share here, and we can talk a little bit about. Let me go back and find my screen here. I'm just rearranging my screen here a little bit. Okay.
How's everybody doing? Is everybody safe and everybody okay?
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our son's wedding was canceled on Saturday. That's kind of a bummer.
Oh,
They had been planning for a year and a half, and they're moving to Chicago in July, so the chance to reschedule is kind of out the door because of that. That's kind of a bummer.
Yes.
But everybody's touched somehow with it, so
yeah.
They're
coming up with some innovative things to do stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to just share my screen again here. Just put together a little PowerPoint, just talking a little bit about some still lifes. And like I said, we did talk a little bit this month about some of the challenges that some of our own members did, which is great. Anytime anybody wants to do anything, in addition to the monthly theme and start a new one, 4 weeks sometimes is a long time, and maybe after 2 weeks you want to try something else, go ahead and propose it and go for it. That's fine. But I just started to look at what makes a good still life photo, and I decided to start looking at some of these things, different attributes of a good photo. Here, I'll take an example. This is one that Karen put out there this month. This is her garlic photo. I thought it was a really exceptional job.
That's beautiful.
That's nice.
Thank you.
We talk about composition, and it's really neat the way she's put it in that box or the frame and like that, and the way all the pieces of it are just kind of, looks like it kind of exploded there in the bottom. That's kind of neat. The lighting is really, really well done. You get the light coming on the top and the way it's providing shadows in the back that are kind of soft shadows and not really hard shadows. And the contrast using the black and white really made a big difference in here. So all those things are all real nice components of still lifes that we can learn from and use those in our own work as we try to make different kinds of this is actually fine art. I think this is really nice. So good job.
Thank you. Boy, this was, I always like to try to do stuff get creative. And it's really, it really is. And I just had these pieces of garlic and thought, and I had this box that's like a wooden box that's a decorative box that you would have like your candles in your kitchen or something. And I just dumped, everything out of it and turned it on its side, put the garlic in the corner. And then during processing, I used a black and white filter in Photoshop. And that really brought out the contrast. And the other thing about this photo was that I have started shooting on spot metering a lot because from my understanding that when you shoot with spot metering, especially in a sort of a dark situation or even when you're outside in the middle of a bright day, you're going to get really good contrast and it really makes for good black and white photos. So that's how that photo came about. Was I wanted something to really emphasize the something that would look good with black and white.
Yeah,
What
really,
is
really
spot
well done.
metering?
What is spot metering? So on your camera, if you are looking when you have your I don't know, when you press your menu and you have it on, say, manual or shutter priority or whatever, down on the bottom, at least on my camera, there's 4 options for metering. One is evaluative metering, one is spot metering, the other one is partial, and then there's one more, center weighted. And most of the time, evaluative metering is what, like kind of a standard that people use. But that spot metering is really helpful when you have like low light or something, or even in the alternative, if you're out in the middle of the day and it's bright light, to be able to make I guess, I don't know, maybe Bob knows how to describe what, I guess when you have how the camera will meter the light. That's what it has to do with. It'll just, so I don't know.
You're right. It's how the camera measures the light to figure out how much to expose the image for. So if you take it as an average, it looks at all the whole size of the whole camera shot, and it says the average light looks like this, I'm going to expose for this. But if you've got, like you say, really bright light behind somebody, or something is very bright, like if you're taking a shot at the moon, it's really bright, and if you try to take an average shot of the moon, you're going to get kind of like a hazy kind of thing, because it tries to make the sky, a little bit brighter than it is too. But if you would use spot metering on the moon, you would expose for the moon by itself, and you'd probably get a better shot if you did that. So, because it would just make it a lot less bright than it would need to be. So this month I went through and we started looking at still lifes, and I did some research on some famous still life photographers, around the world, and started looking at some of their work. And I thought I would just take 3 of the famous ones I looked at and show you a few things that they've done. And you can kind of see, in the same vein of vegetables, this Edward Western is a pretty famous still life photographer, and he's made a lot of money on taking pictures of vegetables for him. So this is actually an onion here, and it's one of his famous pictures. He's done displays in MoMA and exhibitions in MoMA and all over the world, and these are the kinds of pictures he's taking. He was really infatuated with the way some of the shapes of the vegetables are, kind of the way the shapes mimic real life, with the curves and so forth. Sometimes you might even look at like a brain or something, some of the shapes in nature kind of are similar to each other. And he kind of focused on that and took pictures of simple objects like the onion, for example. Here's one of a pepper, and you can see the shapes of this kind of look like a person's back almost. He really was trying to, show the natural shapes and how they kind of might simulate what a person might look like. He also did nudes too, so you can kind of tell that too. And I've seen this picture along with a nude shot that looks very similar to that, which is interesting. Focal points are interesting. What do you keep in focus and what do you leave out of focus? I mean, here, this shot is not exactly in focus, and I'm not sure if it's the reproduction of the photo or if that's the way he intended, but it's still something you should think about when you're taking your shot. Do you want your subject matter to be fully in focus front to back, or do you want some of it to go away? Just another attribute of a still life that you might want to think about. Another one of Westerns, a kiwi. And here, most of these photographers, everything you see is really, really well thought out in terms of position, lighting, and how they crop the images. You know, they really have an idea of exactly what they want. They probably went through and took hundreds of pictures of the same thing in order to get the one that they were happy with. But we probably take quite a few shots ourselves when we're doing this. Here's another one from Western. This is a cabbage, I think. He's using a lot of black and white and dramatic contrast to get that to really pop with the lighting from the top. So some things to think about when we're starting to try this ourselves. Since we're stuck in the house with the corona situation, we might as well take advantage of it and maybe try some things around the house, just like Karen and Barbara have been doing. Good job. Another photographer I looked at, this is a famous guy called Joseph Sudek. And Sudek really is famous for his simple still lifes like this. But if you look at the different kind of lighting and the shadows and reflections and stuff, it would be difficult to reproduce this. I mean, he's got this little fluted glass up here at the top, all the little bubbles in here. He's got the lighting from the back. It's probably in front of a window, and then he's got the shadow from the side, and probably some kind of a curtain or something, or pull down curtain in the back. So if you think about what would you do to reproduce this, for example, you might try quite a while before you come up with something at the right angle, and so with just at the right, that angle that's across the bottom there is pretty cool. Another one is Sudek's shots. He liked to take pictures of glasses with different things behind him, in front of him. Again, he likes the bubbles in the water. I've been reading about some tricks about people putting bubbles in the water, and one of them is to scratch the bottom of the glass like a little bit to make some imperfections in the glass with a glass cutter. Other people say if you put a little pieces of sand in the bottom of the glass too, it makes more bubbles when you put the effervescent water in there, but that's kind of interesting. There's also film-like filters that are put on this, whether the sepia or some kind of a color filter, some rose kind of a filter or something you'll see occasionally. This one's got some kind of a little film filter on it, looks like. Another one is Sudek's. Sudek really did a lot in black and white. He's got the very sharp contrasted lighting in the back. And it's interesting, you look at this light, the light in the back is totally different than the light on the egg because it doesn't go all the way across. Well, maybe it's the same, I don't know, but it's really interesting how you do that. And I don't know if this is a tennis ball back here. I don't know what he did when he woke up in the morning. He said, I'm going to take a picture of an egg and a glass and a tennis ball.
It's like a tee shot, like your golf shot.
Yeah, there you go. But they don't have to be very intricate things. They could be very simple things too. There's another one where he took some different objects, put them together, an old leaf, a tack and a broken egg, and then figured out the way he wanted to show that perspective of those items together, which is kind of interesting.
He cracked him up.
Yeah, cracked him up is right.
He's all cracked up.
I think he may have had a bit of a temper.
That's right. Here's another artist that I found, Jan Groover. Jan was also doing some very simple kitchen type items, knives, fruit, vegetables. Again, you don't have to have very exotic models or anything. You don't have to have flowers. You can use very simple things. And she had a whole series of things where she's taking pictures of just silverware, and she chose to show maybe right out of the dishwasher. She's got, you know, watermarks on here and all kinds of things, which is interesting. The way the spoon is overlapping the tines of the fork, it's interesting.
Ooh.
When you look at a picture and you say, I wonder how she did that, then you know it's probably a good picture. You know, I know what this is down here. It's probably maybe a bowl within a bowl, maybe. I don't know how she did what. There's two whisks, you know, one in the back, one in the front. Is one whisk white, or is that other whisk just, you know, lighted a different way? I don't know. But reflections in here are another piece then. To take a think about, you know, do you want to like to reflect in your image, or do you want it to just be plain? And here's the reflected light off the different pieces of cutlerware. So I thought it would be interesting for us to maybe go out and look for a famous still life person, find a photo that you like, and see if you can simulate that photo, you know, for next month. You can use one of these, you know, I'll post these, you know, later on. Or if you just did a search in Google, famous still life photographers, you'll find a bunch of them here. And you'll see Joseph Sudek is here, Jan Gruber, Edward Weston. The ones I showed you are here. There's other ones here as well. And it's very easy to just click on them and just look at their work. And you see if you could find one that you might be able to reproduce. Maybe you have that whatever that photo is about, you know, if you have the right whisk or something, or in the right bowl, you think you can make it work. You know, concentrate on making the lighting the same way, the reflections the same way, the shadows the same way, and the same treatment of the material, whether it's in focus, front to back, all of those attributes that I talked about, and see if you can reproduce that. So I think that might be an interesting challenge for us to do. I've been thinking about what I'm going to do, and I haven't decided yet, and I've looked at a lot of photos already. There's another one that, again, Karen, I love this one too, that you did this week.
Thanks.
Remember the lighting, the choice of the crop that you'd pick on your particular picture, and the type of contrast that you go for. You know, this one is kind of interesting. It's blown out on the top, basically, you know, on purpose, but it's got a nice nice shadow on the bottom here, and it's not a sharp shadow. It's a blended shadow. So. And you can pick, you can't pick Karen's to copy. You have to pick one of the famous ones. Do that.
I put in a comment for this picture. It said, hey, when I grow up, I want to learn how to take pictures like that.
You know, for that, oh, sorry, I was going to say for that shot though, I don't think there was a crop on that. That was just, I think I was using a, more of a macro lens. I think I had a macro lens on for that.
But
so
you cropped it in camera though. That image was cropped. You know, you could have pulled back and got the whole cup though, but you chose not to do that. So that's right. It was a decision to do that. That was really
right.
Good.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Nice job. And Barb, you were no slouch this month either. You were working hard. So,
I had a lot of fun this month.
Yeah. And the use of a macro is interesting too. So to recap, I thought, you know, for next month, we try to duplicate a still life photo, you know, select a photo from a famous artist, try and duplicate it to the extent possible, you know, with all the different attributes that we've talked about. You'd submit your original photo and also the copy that you did and the original that you tried to copy. And you can also do 2 additional, you know, still lifes of your own, just free form too. And we have a good selection of still lifes, you know, for next month. It should be pretty good. And that's the end of my slideshow. And what do you think? It's got to work?
Yep, that's good.
Thank you.
All right.
I think it sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay. see if I can get my screen back here.
Mhm.
I have just a couple more things. I got a couple of videos. They're short videos that I wanted to show that just show a little bit about some techniques that you can use for photographing different things. And haven't tried sharing videos yet, but I thought this might be interesting. But the first one is, how do you shoot glass? You know, using non-studio lighting and just for things that you have around the house. And, you know, just how would you shoot some glass material? And I will show, let's see, this one.
Hi, my name is Philip McCormick. I've been a pro for more years than I wish to remember, but I just thought it might be interesting to go back to being an amateur. So I'm going to try and photograph, or I will photograph, some glasses or a glass with only the equipment that I can find around my house. No professional equipment at all. Okay, so this is how we do it. So this is the gear we're going to need. One lamp. Can be bedroom light, can be anything, as long as it's got some sort of directional light to it. Two glasses, a standard 35mm camera, a tripod, yeah, a tripod's necessary, two pieces of card, and some way of holding them up. I use these retort stands I get from the chemistry department at a school. Other than that, you can use a bottle, it's the same thing. Two glasses, one on top of the other. I'll show you why later. I put the lamp behind, directed onto the background. So finding the right angle for a glass is always a bit tricky. Normally, from a catalogue point of view, it would be from a lot lower. The important thing is to use a lens that doesn't deform the ellipses. So as you can see now, I've brought the camera back and used a longer lens. This is about an 85mm. I'm a little worried about seeing into the top of the glass. I think normally it's accepted that this would be a straight line, so I'll drop the camera a little. Okay, now we're going to start lighting it. This is the fun bit really, where we can start looking at reflections. Now the black card will just give a little reflection down one edge. So that's the type of place it's going to be. I'd normally put my head in front of the lens to actually find the right place for this. So I'll have to do that with the camera turned off in a second. So that's one card in place. Don't worry about the black card each side, because that can be removed easily afterwards once we work a bit on the computer. It'll be very simple. Right, now the other one goes in. Exactly the same position, really, as near as we can get it to get both exactly the same. Now I said to you I'd explain why I put one glass on top of the other. One is because it looks like a reflection, which always looks nice, and the other is that I can get my reflectors, or the black card, all the way down, so they work on the base. If I have to stop them here at that level, then normally it won't reflect, it'll leave a white spot at the bottom. So it's always easier to put either a reflector or something to stop the light from low down. There we are. Now there's one other change we can make, or two other changes we can make. One of which is putting a piece of card just behind here like that, and you'll see what that does. It'll just change, and now depending on the height of that card, just depending on what it does. So really that's a matter of playing with it. Now the next one I want to show you is a piece put in from the back, now over the top. Now it's very difficult for me to show you because I can't see what I'm doing. But if I have that exactly in the right place, it'll make the rim slightly darker. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to do that without looking at it, by turning off the camera. So there we have it. That's really how we photograph glass. It just remains now to adjust the colour balance, and then of course you'll find in your instruction book how to do that, and take the picture. So here we are. This is the final shot out of the camera. Now no glass shot is ever not retouched, so here's the retouch. Well, there you go, 5 minutes of retouching. Now I can hear you saying, yeah, but that's easy, that's a white. Now what about a black background? Well, this really is as simple as putting a piece of black card behind the glass, bringing in white reflectors. Now those are in fact white cards that I put each side just to send the light back. And what you can do as well is bring in a piece of black just to stop the white light from the background shining into the lens, and that'll give you a little bit more contrast. Now this is the result of the black glass shot, and virtually no retouching on this one. Now I've zoomed out a bit just to show you the set. You'll see I've used a rather large bottle of wine to hold up a reflector. So here are the two shots together. I think they look very good considering they're very cheap glasses. Fine glass would obviously make a better result. I'd like to thank you for having watched this video, and I hope that you'll come and watch others that we're doing bit by bit. They'll be on our website, so hope to see you soon. Thank you.
So I thought I'd show that because it really makes you start to think a little bit about how simple, pieces of cardboard, white or black, or well, just a little bit of light on a little spot somewhere on your image can actually make a big difference on the result of what you're coming up with. Did that come through okay? Everybody could see that all right?
That's good.
That's the first time I tried that. I have one more really quick one, but I thought it was really interesting. This same fellow does a lot of tricks and tips, and he has a really pretty good one here I wanted to show you. So let's go. Share this one.
Tips and tricks 8. Now I know you like these tips and tricks. This one, the object of them is to show you, give you a tool, if you like, a tool that you can use in all types of photography. Now, that's why I haven't actually lit the subjects as they should be lit. They're very quickly done, because I'm only just showing you a technique. And this technique you can use on anything you're photographing, not necessarily what I'm going to put in front of you. So let's get on and I'll show you what I mean. Now here's a very badly lit bottle. Now you see reflections everywhere, etc. But there might be a reason that you have to light something like that because you've got something else in the subject that requires that light. Now I just want to show you something. How about that? You see how you can change the light totally by spraying on a subject on a part that you don't like. Now, there are lots of things you can buy. One's called dulling spray. Now, dulling spray is available in black, white, but supposing you haven't got any in the studio or you don't want to spend a fortune buying it, it's not cheap. Well, this is just a deodorant. Now, they sell deodorants in all types of things, all types of prices. This is a very cheap one because the more expensive ones don't do that. They're transparent. So this is a very cheap deodorant. That costs about £1. That's interesting, isn't it? This edge, this is really nice. I mean, I would fight to get a reflection like that. But let's see what it does on that. Well, that's interesting too. We've got this white reflection down here. Now, how's that done? Because before, you couldn't see it at all, that side of the bottle, it was lost. Well, it's very simple. We just put a bit of white tape down it. So, as you turn it, you can make it thinner or wider.
Oh my gosh.
You can play with it. Because it's tape, it's easy to take off and change its position. Now I use a tape that is an electrician's tape that's plastic, so it makes it easier to put it in certain positions. But that we use a lot in still life photography. Now this is another interesting thing. Again, they're very badly lit. But this glass has got a white edge to it, a nice white reflector, and this edge hasn't. Now the bottom of it, you can see a nice white edge, and this one you can't. Now that's because it's against black. Now how do we do that? Very simply. I don't know if you can see it, but the white rim, the rim, is actually painted with white paint. And underneath the same thing, there's white paint on the base. So that's another thing that is very, very useful, is white poster paint. So you see, you can put white lines down virtually anything just to see, you know, do all sorts of things. I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.
Time for a mask.
Oh my God, that's too good.
So the fellow is sharing his secrets. I thought that was pretty good. I thought
Yeah.
you might enjoy that one. So. But so what you see is might not be real, but you know, you never know. It's not photoshopped. It's actually done, you know, live. So it's kind of neat. So what, does anybody have any ideas of what they might think about doing, or have you been thinking about still lifes at all?
I like Ansel Adams because he's nature.
Yeah, that's outside.
But I get to go there because I'm at work, so I'm thinking of all kinds of stuff I can do at work because we have a rock wall, a wall that's all layered rocks and different things like that. So
yeah,
like 10 hours at night to kill.
Yeah, wow. All right. Well, anybody have any questions about the challenge for the theme for next month? No.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I will try to put this, you know, meeting up on YouTube so that if you wanted to go back and review something or whatever, you can do that. We'll see how that works. Our next meeting would be the third Tuesday of May already, and that's the 19th of May. So,
wow.
Crazy. So how,
I think this is pretty neat because a lot more people like who can't make it to the actual.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
when we go to the, you know, when we go to the place, a lot more people can come in here, so we can see more of the people who are in our group, like we can see here on Zoom. I think that's cool.
Well,
How are
it's
things?
nice of you to set this up, Bob. We really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you, Bob.
Yes.
I'm glad. It's
Thank you,
working for
Bob.
us. You're welcome. I'm glad it's working for us. So it's good.
Yeah. That's cool.
Like I said, if you have any other ideas or anything, use the Facebook group as a just like you have been, as a way to communicate and a way to change direction if we have to. Or it's been working out pretty well. So, how's things with you, Michelle, with your at work at the hospital?
It's been fine. I actually was able to. The AACN has a thing going on with Hilton and American Express, and this weekend when I worked, I got a free hotel room at the Hampton, so I didn't have to come home and.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was really nice.
That was great.
That was good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you for what you do.
Yes, thank you so much.
We really don't. Up there isn't very. I mean, there wasn't very many cases. It's kind of actually slow in the hospital right now, believe it or not.
Well, that's good.
Which will
Good
stay
thing.
that way.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be out of this soon and it doesn't have a relapse if we're not, hopefully we're not out too soon. So we'll see what happens. So, all right. Well, that's all I have for tonight. If anybody have anything else? No? Well, everybody have a good month. Have fun taking still lives. And we'll talk to you next month.
Stay safe, everybody. Bye.
All right,
Thank
stay
you.
safe. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.